Hi, and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to share the 5 attributes I look for in a campsite when motorcycle camping. These are the things I look for to determine the best possible campsite in the area. So next time you're out riding around and looking for a campsite, hopefully these 5 things will help point you in the right direction if you like some of the places you've seen me camping. Stick around. Hi, I'm Tim, and this is my channel FTA Adventures. Today we're talking about the 5 things I personally look for in a campsite. And I'm just going to throw this bonus out there in the beginning because I think if you know me, you probably already know that I'm always on the hunt for free camping. That means I'm often heading to national forest or other dispersed camping areas. And so these tips are what I look for in a free campsite, assuming that's an option where I'm traveling. Anyways, the number one thing I look for is no people. I like to get as far away from the nearest person as I can. I look for something way off the main track where I won't be found or disturbed in the middle of the night. I also prefer privacy and quiet at camp. For me, there's nothing worse than camping and having an inconsiderate neighbor. So I just prefer to not have neighbors within earshot. This is just my preference, but I feel a lot safer when there are no people around. However, there is a caveat to that, and I have said this before, I'll probably say it again, but I always either camp near absolutely no one else or where there are plenty of people around. I won't put myself alone with one other person out in the wilderness. It just doesn't seem wise to me. I've never personally had an issue, but it just seems a little too vulnerable for my taste. Another thing I found is that when you're going down a dirt road looking for a campsite, being willing to go a little bit further than the last person went usually, but not always, leads to some of the better campsites. When I'm in a camping area where there are a lot of people, I'll usually put about 10 to 15 minutes between me and the last person I saw before I even start looking for a campsite. Very often, I'll find a campsite I want, I'll jump back on the bike just to scope out what was a little further down the road, and I've had situations where I thought I found a good site away from people, only to jump on the bike and find that there was someone else right around the corner from me. Okay, number 2 thing I look for is water. That means lakes, rivers, streams, whatever I can find. It isn't mandatory, but I personally love camping near water for a few reasons. For one, it's beautiful, and bonus points for running water that can lull me off to sleep at night. I know most people would avoid that because the sound of running water may cause a few extra trips to the nearest bush at night, but that doesn't happen to me, so I enjoy the sounds of a babbling brook or a creek near me. Having water within walking distance helps with doing dishes, not in the water, but having that water I can carry to camp to wash my dishes or taking a soapless shower in the river, splashing water on my face in the morning, or just sitting on the edge of a lake and reading a good book. There are countless benefits to camping near water. I don't personally fish, but I have been considering getting one of those collapsible fishing poles so I can. I will say that there are some hazards to be aware of if you're camping near water though. Standing water will attract bugs, and any water will tend to attract animals, so be sure to watch your food storage. And also, one more note on camping near water: make sure to avoid accidentally polluting the water with either dirty water from your camp or going to the bathroom a little too close to the water source. And number 3, trees. I like camping under trees for the shade, the privacy, the potential downed wood that could be sourced for firewood, and if needed, I have an easier way to hang a rain shelter. Especially on hot campouts, shade is crucial, but the cover of trees can also keep you warmer because the trees can create a microclimate under them that can be warmer than the air around them. There'll also be less condensation because of this. The privacy is nice too because in a wide open area you can be seen from far away. Don't get me wrong, I have camped in some gorgeous wide open places, deserts, dry lake beds, meadows, whatever, and they have been great, especially for stargazing, but I do like the privacy of some trees around me. If campfires are allowed, it is unlikely that I'm carrying around a bundle of wood with me, and I'll have to source wood at the site. If there are trees, there's a better chance of finding dry and already downed wood to collect. And finally, like I said, if I need to make a makeshift shelter for the rain, it's much easier to do when I have a few trees to work with. Number 4 thing I look for is an established site. I don't want to be the first person camping somewhere because I want to lessen my footprint as much as possible. I want to put my tent where the ground is already affected to avoid spreading the area of affected ground. An established campsite also means that there will likely be a fire ring and possibly some logs that I can use to sit on, or even a little leftover firewood to burn. This makes my work easier, and it's much better for the environment. Usually when you get to a site or when you ride by one, it's pretty obvious. And when you get into the site, it's easy to see where people have already put their tents, and you should use the same spot if possible. Thing number 5 I look for is a good layout of the site. That means that it's flat, or at least has a flat spot for my tent, and I kind of try to envision where I'll park my bike, put my tent, cook my food, and just kind of judge, is it a convenient layout? This may seem trivial, but I'm telling you, I have stayed at campsites that didn't have a good layout. What seems minor at first can become a major nuisance as your campout progresses. You kind of develop an eye for this, and this is why I often pass up so many available sites looking for the right one. I'm making my home for the night, so I put in the time to get it right. Of course, it's less commitment than buying a house, but to me, it feels close to that. I want the best experience and comfort hanging around camp, so I want to get it right. For example, is there a big rock that will separate you from your bike? That could get annoying when you're going to your bike to get things, and you have to walk around it every single time. Is the spot so small and tight that you won't have space to move around? Maybe the whole site is on a slope and your tent won't be able to be flat. Anything like this is better to find out and determine before you set up your campsite. And before we wrap up this video, I have one more thing I look for, and that is a lack of caves or cliffs with large rocks, anywhere that an animal could live or hide. Even if not realistically, I know that when the sun goes down, I might start losing that sense of reason and reality can get distorted. So I want to make sure there's nothing that my mind can run away with. Really anything that could become creepy when it gets dark. I look for those things and then I avoid them. So those are the 5 things I look for when finding a campsite. It's a balance. I don't always get everything I'm looking for, but 3 out of 5 isn't bad. Hopefully this gives you some ideas when you're seeking out your next campsite. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. And for more motorcycle camping tips and info, check out my new book, The Fundamentals of Motorcycle Camping, linked below. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video.